A U.S. Army Ranger Captain, Artemis, and her squad are mysteriously transported to a desert world teeming with colossal ancient monsters. Stranded and outmatched, they encounter a skilled local hunter who teaches Artemis the ways of survival. She must adapt to this brutal ecosystem, understand its intricate rules, and forge an unlikely alliance to find a way home, battling incredible beasts in a fight for existence.
Captain Artemis! Stop! We've been searching for you. apprentice.
Look at those markers! Racing!
Hey guys, today we are strapping in for a wild ride through the visually stunning and utterly chaotic world of Monster Hunter, the 2020 film that decided our normal reality was just too pedestrian. We're talking about a place where every rock could hide a fanged nightmare, and survival is less about strategy and more about not becoming a monster's lunch. It's a world-building exercise in pure, unadulterated danger, where the rules of physics occasionally take a coffee break. If you had a good time with this, a like and a subscribe is a free way to help me keep making more. The air shimmers with heat, a haze distorting the vast, cracked landscape of a world entirely alien, not ours. Here, ancient geological forces have carved canyons and mesas that stretch into an endless horizon, under a sky that shifts from a fiery orange to a deep, bruised purple. This is a place where life, even in its most barren forms, clings fiercely, and death arrives in truly spectacular fashion. Our first glimpse into this bizarre ecosystem isn't through the eyes of a bewildered human, but from the deck of a sleek, surprisingly functional airship, a marvel of cobbled-together technology made from bits and pieces of gargantuan beasts. It hums with a low thrum, barely audible over the whipping winds, carrying a crew of individuals who look like they've stepped right out of a fantasy novel. Each one is clad in intricate armor, not of steel, but of scaled hide, bone, and sharpened horn, proclaiming their mastery over the very creatures that define this hostile world. Among them is a lone stoic figure, the hunter, his face a landscape of hardened resolve, his colossal greatsword a slab of sharpened metal and monster jaw resting casually against his shoulder. His feline companion, a bipedal cat-like creature known as a palico, with eyes that hold an uncanny intelligence, scampers about, its own miniature armor clanking softly. The ship slices through the thermals, a silent predator itself, navigating a world where threats aren't just hidden, but are often kilometers-long leviathans that could swallow the vessel whole. The very existence of this ship tells us volumes. These aren't just survivors, they're active participants in a delicate, brutal balance, understanding the deep, terrifying magic and biology that underpins their reality. The distant roars, a symphony of guttural calls and earth-shaking thuds, are not signals of alarm to them, but merely the ambient noise of home. This world, we quickly grasped, doesn't just contain monsters, it is made of them, shaped by their power, their movements, and the ingenuity of those who hunt them. Cut now to a completely different reality, a stark contrast to the primeval majesty we just witnessed. We're in a Humvee, rumbling through the featureless desert of our own Earth, the familiar grid of sand and the distant hum of military communication filling the air. Captain Artemis, a U.S. Army Ranger, leads her squad, their faces etched with the familiar weariness of deployment. They're professional, disciplined, and utterly reliant on the precision of modern technology. The mundane nature of their patrol is abruptly shattered by a sudden, inexplicable sandstorm. It's no ordinary storm. The air crackles with an unnatural energy. A deep, resonant hum vibrates through their very bones, and the sky twists into an ominous, emerald-tinted vortex. The wind howls, a primal scream, tearing out their vehicles, pelting them with sand that feel like tiny, sharp bullets. Lights flicker, radios die with a fizzle, and then a blinding flash, a deafening roar that seems to rip the fabric of reality itself. It's like being shoved through a cosmic garbage disposal, a terrifying lurch and drop, the Humvee tumbling end over end, the air thick with ozone and the metallic tang of something impossibly alien. When they finally crash land, the silence that follows is profound, save for the ringing in their ears and the ragged gasps for breath. They're no longer in their desert. The sand here is coarser, the light a sickly yellow, and the rock formations towering around them are unlike anything on Earth, carved into jagged, unnatural spires. Their Humvee is a mangled wreck, a testament to the impossible forces that just transported them. They're disoriented, bruised, and crucially, completely cut off. Radios are dead, GPS useless. This isn't just another continent, it's another dimension. The world they've landed in is an ancient, hostile place, devoid of any familiar landmarks, its vastness pressing down on them with an almost physical weight. The initial confusion gives way to a creeping dread as they realize the impossible has happened. Their advanced weaponry, their training, their entire worldview is suddenly moot. The sand feels hotter, almost alive beneath their boots, and the air itself seems to carry a heavy, humid density, a stark difference from the dry desert they knew. Every rustle of shifting sand, every distant echo feels magnified, threatening. The rules have changed, and they're playing a game they don't even know the name of yet.
Their initial forays into this alien land are disastrous, a grim introduction to its merciless rules. Following a series of strange tracks that are far too large to be anything terrestrial, they venture into a massive cavernous network, the air thick with the smell of decay and something sickly sweet. Here, the world introduces itself properly, in the form of Nursilla. These aren't just big spiders, they are nightmares made manifest. Imagine arachnids the size of battle tanks, with multiple glowing eyes that pierce the gloom, chitinous exoskeletons that shimmer with an oily iridescence, and razor-sharp fangs that drip with a potent, paralyzing venom. The sound they make is a chilling, high-pitched scuttling, 1,000 tiny clicks and scrapes echoing off the cave walls, growing louder, closer. Their webs aren't delicate silk, they're thick, sticky cables, strong enough to ensnare a truck, and infused with the same paralytic agent as their fangs. The squad's high-tech firearms, once symbols of overwhelming power, prove utterly ineffective. Bullets ping uselessly off the Nursilla's armored bodies, doing little more than annoying them. The soldiers' M4s and grenades are like toys against these living tanks. One by one, the squad is picked off, caught in the sticky webs, their struggles growing weaker as the venom takes hold. The terrifying efficiency of these creatures, how they use the environment, the dark, constricted tunnels, the surprise drops from the ceiling, demonstrates a perfectly evolved hunting strategy. This isn't just a monster attack, it's an ecological lesson, brutal and swift. Artemis, amidst the horrifying screams of her comrades and the sickening crunch of chitin, witnesses the abject failure of their modern arsenal. Her high-velocity rounds might as well be spitballs. The tactical advantage she's always relied upon simply doesn't exist here. Her determination hardens, not in a desperate clinging to old methods, but in a desperate scramble to find any method. She observes, even as chaos reigns, the monsters are vulnerable to fire. A quick-thinking move, utilizing the last of their incendiary rounds, brings down a few of the beasts, but the victory is fleeting and costly. The echoing silence that eventually descends upon the cavern, broken only by her own ragged breathing, is a heavy shroud, a testament to the swift and total annihilation of her unit. The metallic tang of fear mixes with the acrid scent of venom and scorched monster flesh in the air. She's alone, vulnerable, and facing a world that actively despises her existence, its rules a mystery she has to solve or die trying. It's a truly humbling experience, going from top of the food chain to, well, pretty much bait. Barely escaping the Nursilla's lair, Artemis emerges into the scorching open desert, the sun beating down mercilessly. The sheer scale of the landscape is overwhelming, an endless expanse of shifting dunes and jagged rock formations. Here, the world throws another lesson at her, even bigger than the last one, the Diablos. This is a true titan, a creature that makes the Nursilla look like house cats. Imagine a desert dragon, but without the wings, instead armed with a pair of colossal corkscrew horns, a thick, ridged hide that blends perfectly with the sand, and a subterranean existence that makes it an apex predator of this vast, arid environment. Its movements are heralded by immense tremors in the ground, the very earth rippling and exploding as it bursts forth from beneath the dunes. The sound it makes is less a roar and more a booming, guttural bellow, a deep, resonant vibration that shakes the very air, rattling your teeth. It hunts by sound and vibration, making stealth a desperate, agonizing crawl. Artemis and the last remaining members of her squad, now just 2, discover this the hard way. Their modern military movements, designed for speed and direct confrontation, are like ringing a dinner bell for this beast. The Humvee, despite its armored plating, is tossed aside like a toy car, its metal groaning and tearing under the creature's immense force. The sheer power involved, the destructive capability of a creature that can shift tons of sand with a single thrash of its head, underscores the utter insignificance of humanity's conventional power in this world. The Diablos is a force of nature, an embodiment of the desert's unforgiving might. It emerges from the sand with a roar that seems to rip the sky, its colossal horns arcing through the air like ancient, deadly scythes. The ground literally cracks and buckles under its immense weight, sending plumes of sand high into the air. One of Artemis's squad members, caught in the open, is swatted aside with terrifying ease, a crumpled heap before he even hits the ground. The other, desperately trying to provide cover fire, finds his bullets doing no more than sparking off the creature's thick hide. The futility of their efforts is heartbreakingly clear. The air is thick with the dust of disrupted sand, the metallic smell of fear, and the lingering acrid scent of whatever strange minerals this world is made of. The sun glares down, reflecting off the monster's scales, making it seem almost incandescent in its wrath. Artemis, ever the soldier, tries to draw its attention, to create a diversion, but her rifle rounds are completely useless, the crack of her weapon a tiny pop against the beast's thunderous might. The sense of isolation and utter helplessness is palpable. This isn't just a fight, it's an execution. Her remaining comrades fall, their desperate cries silenced by the crushing force of the Diablos' charge. The world has truly shown her its teeth, leaving her utterly alone, covered in the blood of her friends, staring down a creature that seems to defy all natural law. She survived, but at what cost, and with what desperate, burning need to understand?
Just when all hope seems lost, a figure emerges from the blinding glare of the sun, a silhouette against the harsh light. It's the Hunter, the stoic warrior we met at the very beginning. His arrival is less a rescue and more an intervention, a quiet demonstration of superior knowledge and adaptation. He moves with an almost supernatural grace, flowing through the treacherous sands, his oversized greatsword strapped to his back looking less like a weapon and more like a carefully selective tool for planetary excavation. Clad in armor fashioned from the hides and bones of monsters, he blends into this world seamlessly, a living embodiment of its harsh beauty. There's a profound language barrier between them. His guttural grunts and hand gestures are a stark contrast to Artemis's frantic English, yet the universal language of shared danger quickly bridges the gap. The Hunter doesn't speak much, if at all, which is honestly a great quality in a world where every misplaced sound can summon something with too many teeth. His method of dealing with the Diablos is a masterclass in this world's practical wisdom. Instead of direct confrontation, he uses the environment, strategically luring the beast into an area rigged with giant homemade traps. The clanging sound of metal on metal as he sets his contraptions, the subtle shift of sand under his expertly placed feet, all speak volumes about his honed skills. He communicates through action, through the way he deftly wields his slinger, a wrist-mounted crossbow that fires small, sharp projectiles or even environmental hazards to draw the monster's attention. He doesn't just fight, he orchestrates the fight, a conductor of chaos. Their initial interactions are a fascinating clash of cultures and combat philosophies. Artemis, still trying to process the sheer audacity of this man facing down a monster the size of a bus with what looks like a ridiculously oversized butter knife, is a whirlwind of questions and tactical suggestions that make no sense here. The Hunter, in turn, regards her with a mix of weary patience and quiet amusement. He shows her how to dig herself into the sand to avoid the Diablos' devastating ground charges, the coarse grains gritty against her skin. He demonstrates how the creature uses sound, topping on the ground to draw its fury, then quickly retreating. He introduces her to the concept of the slinger, showing her how to load small stones and nuts that can be used to distract or stun. The crafting itself is a marvel. From scavenged materials, he fashions a makeshift net trap, his movements precise and economical. The sound of the rough rope being tied, the metallic clicks of the components falling into place, all hint at a sophisticated, albeit primal, engineering. He even offers her water from a strange bulbous plant, a testament to his intimate knowledge of the desert's sparse resources. This world doesn't offer easy solutions. It demands resourcefulness, observation, and an almost intuitive understanding of its inhabitants. It's a humbling lesson for Artemis, who has always relied on technology and firepower. Here, the power lies in knowledge and adaptation, in using the world's own terrifying features against its inhabitants. It's almost like a survivalist reality show, but with more impalements and significantly less prize money. Their escape from the Diablos, though successful, only buys them time. The desert, unforgiving and vast, stretches before them, and the Hunter understands they can't simply stay put.
He leads Artemis on a journey across landscapes that shift from the familiar golden dunes to towering canyon-riddled badlands, where wind howls through natural rock formations like ancient, mournful spirits. The sounds of distant roars and the rustle of unseen creatures become a constant low thrum in the background, a reminder that they are always on borrowed time. This journey is Artemis's accelerated training program. The hunter teaches her the intricate art of tracking, showing her how to read the subtle signs left by gargantuan beasts, the enormous claw marks etched into stone, the peculiar scorch marks on petrified trees, the distinct odor of different monster excrement. Yes, world building even extends to monster poop, apparently. He demonstrates how to set basic traps, how to properly use the slinger not just as a weapon, but as a utility tool to dislodge obstacles or create distractions. She learns the importance of harvesting resources from the environment, strange fungi that glow with bioluminescence, herbs that have medicinal properties, the durable hides of smaller, less threatening creatures. The tactile experience of carving tough hide, the sharp snap of breaking bones to extract usable parts, is a far cry from her clean military operations. Her hands, once accustomed to the smooth, cold steel of firearms, now grow calloused from handling rough tools and monster parts. She feels the weight of the hunter's colossal greatsword, a truly impractical weapon by Earth standards, yet clearly devastating here, requiring immense strength and technique to even lift, let alone swing effectively. He shows her how to properly gauge a monster's weak points, the shimmering vulnerability in certain scales, the specific angle to land a hit for maximum impact. She learns to read the terrain, to anticipate monster movements, to flow with the chaos rather than fight against it. The air in these new zones might be cooler, fresher, sometimes smelling of damp earth or strange floral notes, but the underlying tension remains. They encounter smaller but still terrifying creatures like the cephadrome, fish-like monsters that swim through sand with predatory ease, their fins slicing through the surface like sharks. The hunter patiently guides her, often with nothing more than a pointed finger or a stern look, through the nuances of this deadly ecosystem. It's a brutal curriculum, every mistake potentially fatal, but Artemis, a natural survivor, absorbs it all. She starts to shed her soldier's rigid mindset, adopting the fluid, adaptable grace of a hunter. The sounds of their footsteps, once heavy and pronounced, become lighter, more cautious, blending into the ambient calls of this living world.
Their journey eventually leads them out of the parched desert into a more verdant, if equally dangerous landscape. Towering forests of bizarre, bioluminescent flora glow faintly, casting an otherworldly light through the dense canopy. Strange mushroom-like growths punctuate the forest floor, and the air is thick with the damp, earthy scent of ancient vegetation. It's in this new biome, a vibrant but still terrifying part of the world, that they finally glimpse their true objective. A colossal, crystalline tower piercing the clouds, radiating an eerie, pulsating blue light. This is the Sky Tower, a structure of unfathomable size and seemingly alien construction, humming with a powerful, almost spiritual energy. The sight of it alone speaks volumes about the ancient, technological mysteries that underpin this world. But before they can reach it, they have a flying problem to contend with, and it's a big one. Enter the Rathalos. The Rathalos is nothing short of majestic and terrifying. It's the king of the skies in this region, a magnificent, dragon-like wyvern with scales of burnished crimson, massive leathery wings that beat the air with the force of a hurricane, and a pair of eyes that glow with intelligent malevolence. Its roar is a deafening shriek, echoing to the canyons and forests, proclaiming its dominance. But its most devastating weapon is its fire. It breathes torrents of searing flame, a superheated inferno that incinerates everything in its path, turning ancient trees to ash in an instant. The air around it literally shimmers with heat, and the crackle of its fiery breath is a terrifying sound, a prelude to complete devastation. Unlike the burrowing Diablos or the ambush-hunting Nursula, the Rathalos surveys its domain from above, a watchful, patient hunter. The hunter explains, through gestures and grunts, that this beast is a territorial menace, responsible for much of the destruction they've witnessed. The Sky Tower, it seems, is frequently plagued by its presence. The hunter's reverence, mixed with a healthy dose of professional caution, speaks to the Rathalos' legendary status within this world's ecosystem.
It's not just a monster, it's a force, a symbol of the untamed power of this dimension. The final approach to the Sky Tower is fraught with peril. They dodge explosive geysers, navigate treacherous crumbling paths, and face down smaller but still aggressive monsters that guard the periphery of the Rathalos' domain. Artemis by now is a transformed warrior. Her movements are fluid, her eyes constantly scanning for threats, her grip on the slinger firm and confident. She understands the rhythm of this world, the delicate balance between predator and prey, the subtle cues of an approaching danger. The hunter, watching her, shows a rare, fleeting look of approval. They finally reach the Sky Tower, its sheer magnitude dwarfing everything around it. Its surface is not stone or metal, but a peculiar crystalline substance that glows with an internal light, pulsing with a deep, resonant hum that vibrates through the ground. It is an artifact of immense power and unknown origin, a stark contradiction to the organic, primordial nature of the monsters. At the base of this impossible structure, they find an encampment, a collection of makeshift tents and structures fashioned from monster hide and bone. This is where Artemis finally meets the admiral, the sagely leader of the local hunters, along with his colorful crew of palicoes and human or human-like companions. The admiral, a seasoned warrior with a weathered face and eyes that hold ancient wisdom, speaks her language, a surprising and welcome relief. He explains the deeper lore of this world, the true purpose of the Sky Tower. It's a nexus, a portal generator, not just between different locations in their world, but between dimensions. This tower, he reveals, periodically opens rifts, pulling in creatures and people from other worlds, much like Artemis and her squad. The monstrous inhabitants of this world, the Elder Dragons, ancient godlike creatures of immense power, sense these dimensional breaches and are drawn to them, destabilizing the natural order. The Rathalos, in particular, is fiercely territorial over the Sky Tower, instinctively trying to close the portal, or perhaps ensure it only lets its kind through. The narrative expands rapidly here, revealing a multi-dimensional conflict, a grander scheme where their world acts as a buffer between dimensions, and the hunters are its reluctant guardians. The constant roar of the wind around the tower, the crackle of energy from its crystalline surface, all contribute to the sense of immense, almost cosmic power concentrated in this one spot. The Admiral's voice, though calm, carries the weight of millennia of such conflicts. He speaks of the need to maintain balance, to prevent Elder Dragons from crossing over and wreaking havoc on other more vulnerable realities like Earth. The encampment itself is a fascinating microcosm of this unique society. Palicos and their charming little outfits and armed with tiny weapons are not just pets but indispensable members of the team, offering support, cooking meals, and even healing. The tools and weapons are all crafted from the parts of felled monsters, each piece infused with the properties of the creature it came from. The armor Artemis saw earlier on the hunter is not just decorative, it's functionally superior, providing protection against specific elemental attacks or physical damage, depending on the monster it was harvested from. The sounds of the forge, the rhythmic clang of hammer on heated metal, the sizzle of quenched steel are a constant backdrop, demonstrating the intricate craftsmanship required. Artemis is taken to the forge, where she witnesses the painstaking process of transforming raw monster parts, the shimmering scales of the Nersilla, the thick hide of the Diablos, into formidable weaponry. She's given a new set of armor, lighter and more functional, and a pair of twin blades, a far cry from her rifle, but perfectly suited for close-quarters combat against colossal beasts. The feeling of the grip, the balance of the blades, the cool metallic tang of the monster-infused metal, it's a tactile awakening. The Admiral lays out the plan. They need to defeat the Rathalos to stabilize the portal and allow Artemis to return home. It's a complex strategy, requiring the coordinated effort of the entire hunting party, each member playing a crucial role. The hunter, using his intimate knowledge of the Rathalos' patterns, prepares various traps and environmental hazards. They meticulously map out the terrain around the tower, identifying choke points, potential cover, and areas where the Rathalos might be vulnerable. The sound of their preparations, the sharpening of blades, the loading of various projectiles into slingers, the careful arrangement of explosives, creates a symphony of focused determination. Artemis, no longer a bewildered soldier, embraces her role, her tactical mind now repurposed for this new form of warfare. She's learned that brute force is often suicide. Cunning, precision, and a deep understanding of the monster are the true weapons here. Her previous combat experience, combined with the hunter's primal wisdom, creates a formidable synthesis of old and new. They are going to use the world's own terrifying features against its self-proclaimed king. And frankly, I'm here for it. It's like a really extreme team-building exercise, except the team can get eaten.
The climactic battle against the Rathalos is a breathtaking display of coordinated chaos, a symphony of roars, fire, and steel. The Rathalos descends from the sky like a crimson meteor, its wings tearing the air, its guttural shriek announcing its fury. The ground trembles under the force of its landing, sending dust and small stones flying. Fire, hot enough to melt metal, erupts from its maw, scorching the earth where moments before Artemis and the hunters stood. The air fills with the acrid smell of ozone and sulfur. This is where all of Artemis's training, all her observations, all her newfound understanding of this world coalesce into action. She moves with an agile precision, dodging blasts of fire, the heat radiating off her, making her skin tingle. The crock of her newly acquired twin blades as they connect with the monster's armored hide is a high-pitched whine, followed by the deep thud of impact, each strike aimed at a vulnerable point. The hunter, a silent force of nature, wields his immense greatsword, its metallic clang against the Rathalos' scales sounding like a church bell, his swings powerful enough to send shockwaves through the beast's body. He uses the environment masterfully, drawing the Rathalos into preset traps. The battle takes them across the treacherous landscape surrounding the Sky Tower. They bait the Rathalos into a series of giant, chain-linked nets that ensnare its wings, briefly grounding the magnificent beast. The frantic flopping of its wings, the snapping of chains, the desperate roars of frustration, these are the sounds of a king temporarily dethroned. Artemis, using her slinger, fires specialized projectiles designed to embed themselves in the monster's flesh, setting off elemental reactions, perhaps a flash bomb to disorient, or a venomous dart to gradually weaken it. The Palikos, small but mighty, rush in with their own tiny weapons, distracting the Rathalos, drawing its attention away from the main attackers, their chirps and tiny battle cries a strangely endearing counterpoint to the monster's enraged roars. The admiral and his crew provide range support, their specialized bows and projectile weapons peppering the Rathalos with explosive arrows and debilitating bolts. It's a dance of death, precise and brutal. Every strike, every dodge, every tactical decision is critical. The sensory details are overwhelming. The searing heat of the Rathalos' fire, the metallic tang of its blood, the rough texture of its scales beneath Artemis's boots as she scrambles for a vantage point, the sheer force of its thrashing tail whipping through the air. Artemis, in a moment of sheer guts and ingenuity, climbs onto the Rathalos' back as it thrashes against its bonds, her twin blades digging into its tough hide, a maneuver learned from observing the hunter's methods. She hacks away at its neck, the crock of bone and the tearing of muscle echoing even over the monster's roars. The Rathalos, enraged and weakened, eventually collapses, its colossal body shuddering as life drains from it. A deafening silence descends for a moment, broken only by the ragged breathing of the hunters and the crackling of residual fire. It's a hard-won victory, a testament to the power of teamwork, adaptation, and a deep respect for the world's brutal rules. As the Rathalos' body cools, the Sky Tower pulses with a more stable, brighter blue light. The portal begins to open, a shimmering, swirling vortex of energy beckoning Artemis home. The air around it crackles with power, a high-pitched hum filling the air, a sound of immense cosmic forces at play. But this world, as we've learned, never gives up its secrets or its dangers easily. Just as Artemis prepares to step through the swirling vortex, a new tremor shakes the earth, far more violent than anything they felt before. The ground splits open, not just from beneath, but in a series of massive fissures that spiderweb across the landscape. The Sky Tower's pulse flickers, the portal shimmers erratically. The air grows heavy with a new, ominous pressure. From the depths of these newly formed chasms, an even larger, more ancient threat begins to emerge. Another elder dragon, a creature of truly apocalyptic proportions, whose very presence warps the environment. While the film leaves its specific identity somewhat ambiguous, it hints at something akin to Gore Magala or even Nergigante, a creature of immense destructive capability, its scales dark and jagged, its roar a primordial sound that chills to the bone. Its eyes glow with a malevolent, ancient intelligence. The previous battle with the Rathalos, though epic, suddenly feels like a mere skirmish in comparison. This new beast is not just a monster, it's a literal world-ender. The hunters, including Artemis, the hunter, and the admiral, barely have time to register this new threat before it unleashes a torrent of dark energy or a devastating physical attack that further destabilizes the Sky Tower. The portal shrinks, then expands erratically, threatening to collapse or explode entirely. The admiral, his face grim, shouts a warning. This elder dragon, if it crosses into Artemis's world, could destroy it. This isn't just about going home, it's about protecting two realities. The final moments are a desperate, exhilarating sprint. Artemis, with a newfound purpose beyond just survival, helps the hunters engage this new behemoth, utilizing every trick she's learned. The clang of the hunter's greatsword, the precise shots from the admiral's bow, and Artemis's agile twin blades combine in a furious, almost suicidal defense. They create a diversion, a narrow window of opportunity for Artemis to make her final dash for the portal. The air is thick with dust, the smell of burning energy, and the metallic tang of fear. The roar of the elder dragon is constant, deafening. Artemis finally leaps, propelled by an explosive charge, through the flickering portal, the sounds of battle and the raw energy of the other world suddenly silenced as she finds herself on the other side. But even there, the threat isn't truly gone. The sky tower, still pulsing with unstable energy, looms over Earth's skyline, a dark promise of future invasions. The sounds of Earth are faint at first, then rush back, but they're now accompanied by a new unsettling hum, a subtle echo of the world she just left, suggesting that the dimensional barrier is now thinner, more permeable. The ending is less a resolution and more a powerful opening, a bold declaration that the Monster Hunter world is not just a place, but a dimension, constantly at risk of bleeding into ours, and Artemis, now fully a hunter, is ready to face what comes next. As we reflect on this cinematic journey, it's clear that the world of Monster Hunter isn't just a backdrop for action, it's a character in itself, vibrant, brutal, and utterly captivating. It reminds us that strength isn't always about the biggest gun, but about adaptability, ingenuity, and a deep respect for the power of nature, even when that nature is trying to eat you. Artemis's transformation from a soldier reliant on technology to a hunter attuned to the primal rhythms of an alien ecosystem offers a powerful lesson in resilience. It's about finding the courage to shed old assumptions and embrace new realities, even when those realities involve creatures that defy explanation. The movie beautifully illustrates that to survive, sometimes you must become a part of the world that threatens to consume you, understanding its intricate, deadly dance.
Monster Hunter delivered on its promise of spectacle and creature design, showcasing a truly imaginative and dangerous world. While some might find the narrative a bit thin, its commitment to world building and the visceral thrill of gigantic monster battles makes it a fun, action-packed ride. It successfully captured the essence of the games, leaving audiences eager for more exploration of this exciting, perilous universe.
Our story kicks off not with a bang, but with a whole lot of sand, specifically in what looks like a classic sun-baked desert, where we meet Lieutenant Natalie Artemis, played by Milla Jovovich, leading a small, elite UN security team. They're on a mission, zipping around in their Humvees, doing soldier things, which mostly involves looking cool and professional. The air is thick with dust, the kind that makes your eyes gritty and your throat dry, and the sun beats down relentlessly, a vast oppressive dome of heat over the endless dunes. They're tracking something, an anomaly, a signal that just doesn't make sense out here. Suddenly, out of nowhere, a massive, swirling sandstorm materializes, a truly monstrous thing that churns the very air and blocks out the sun. It's not just any storm, though. This one has a distinctly unnatural, almost electric hum to it. Before anyone can even finish saying what the heck was that, their vehicles are caught in its terrifying maw, tossed around like toy cars. The wind howls, a deafening shriek that rips through the desert, drowning out the shouts of the soldiers and the strained groaning of their machinery. There's a blinding flash, a ripple in the fabric of reality, and then silence, save for the settling dust. When Artemis comes to, the world around her is different, very, very different. Her Humvee is wrecked, smoke curling from its mangled chassis. Her team is scattered, unconscious, or worse. The sand is still there, but now, towering rock formations pierce the sky, structures that look ancient and impossibly sharp. The air is heavy, humid, and carries a strange primal scent. And then, the first sound, a guttural rumble that vibrates through the very ground. It's a sound that promises something enormous, something hungry. Her military training kicks in and she begins to search for her team, shouting their names into the alien expanse. The desert, however, answers only with the wind and that deep, disquieting rumble.
She finds her comrades, but not in a good way. Their Humvee, or what's left of it, has been torn apart.
not by the storm, but by something with immense force and razor-sharp claws. Before she can fully process the horror, a new sound emerges, a skittering, chitinous click-clack that echoes from the shadows of a nearby cave system. We're introduced to the Nursula, a giant, arachnid-like creature with glowing red eyes and venomous fangs. It's a creature straight out of a nightmare, and it moves with terrifying speed and agility. Its legs scrape against the rock, producing an unnerving symphony of clicks and scratches that send shivers down your spine. Artemis, ever the professional soldier, grabs her rifle and tries to make sense of this nightmare, but her modern weaponry, while powerful, feels laughably inadequate against something of this scale and sheer resilience. The creature ambushes her team, expertly employing its sticky, incredibly strong webs to incapacitate them one by one. It's a genuinely terrifying sequence, as her trained, competent soldiers who face down human threats are utterly outmatched and systematically picked off by this apex predator. The screams of her comrades are gut-wrenching, echoing through the cavern as they're wrapped in layers of silk, destined to be dinner. You can almost feel the sticky, suffocating sensation of the webs yourself. Artemis, through sheer grit and a bit of luck, manages to evade the worst of it, but she is alone, cut off from her team and staring down a creature that laughs in the face of bullets. Her survival instincts scream at her to run, and she does, deeper into the treacherous cave system, with the Nursula hot on her heels, its many legs making an awful rhythmic thumping sound as it pursues. She makes a desperate stand, using her training to set up rudimentary traps, but the Nursula is too cunning, too monstrously powerful. It's here that the film really drives home the idea that her previous world's rules no longer apply. This isn't a fight she can win with conventional tactics.
Just when things look their absolute bleakest, when Artemis is cornered and about to become another silk-wrapped snock, a new figure bursts into the scene. This is the Hunter, played by Tony Jaa, a silent, mysterious warrior from this monster-infested world. He's armed with a colossal greatsword. Seriously, it's bigger than he is, looking like a slab of sharpened mountain, and moves with an almost supernatural grace. His entrance is a whirlwind of motion, a blur of practiced strikes and incredible agility. The clang of his massive sword against the Nursula's chitinous armor rings through the cave, a surprisingly metallic sound for a creature of flesh and bone. He doesn't speak a word, communicating only through his fierce determination and his incredible prowess in battle. He fights with an almost brutal elegance, clearly having faced creatures like this countless times before. He knows its weak points, its patterns, its every move. Together, in a tense, chaotic battle, they manage to drive the Nursula back, though not without Artemis sustaining injuries and an even deeper sense of bewilderment. The initial encounter between Artemis and the Hunter is a masterclass in nonverbal communication and suspicion. She's a soldier, trained to trust no one she doesn't know, especially not a wild-looking man wielding a sword that could fell a small tree. He, on the other hand, sees her as an anomaly, an outsider, a potential threat. Their first interactions are a series of tense standoffs, attempted attacks, and frustrated gestures. She tries to use her military radio, hoping for some miraculous signal, but it only crackles with static, a stark reminder of how truly alone she is. The Hunter tries to convey the dangers of this world, pointing to tracks in the sand, demonstrating how to avoid traps, but his methods are primal, raw, and completely alien to her. It's a hilarious and frustrating sequence, watching them try to bridge a language gap that feels as wide as the ocean. At one point, she tries to offer him a granola bar, and he just stares at it with an expression that perfectly blends curiosity and profound confusion, before probably thinking, what kind of useless sustenance is this?
Their uneasy alliance slowly begins to form out of necessity. Artemis, stripped of her advanced weaponry and reliable squad, is utterly helpless in this new environment. The Hunter, while immensely capable, seems intrigued by her stubbornness and her surprising resilience. He begins to teach her the ways of his world, not with words, but with actions. He shows her how to find water by digging up specific succulent plants that look suspiciously like giant cacti with googly eyes, a truly bizarre sight. He teaches her to identify monster tracks, to set snares, and to utilize the environment to her advantage. The sounds of their training sessions are filled with the rustling of leaves, the crunch of footsteps on strange soil, and the occasional frustrated grunt from Artemis as she tries to master a new skill. She observes how he moves, how he carries his monstrous weapons with such ease, how he blends into the landscape, a true predator in his own right. The sheer ingenuity of his gear, crafted from the very monsters he hunts, is fascinating. His armor, made from scales and hide, looks both ancient and incredibly functional, a stark contrast to her sleek tactical fatigues. Their training montage, while brief, is impactful. We see Artemis struggling with the weight of the hunter's weapons, her muscles screaming in protest. The clatter of metal as she tries to mimic his swift, powerful swings with a practice sword. We also see her adopting, using her intelligence and quick thinking to solve problems in ways the hunter, for all his primal wisdom, might not consider. She's learning to listen to the world around her, to the distant roars that signify danger, the rustling in the bushes that might be prey or predator, the subtle shifts in the wind that carry crucial information. She learns to build rudimentary fire, a small, crackling beacon in the vast, dangerous darkness, which he watches with a mix of awe and a certain "why didn't I think of that" expression.
The real crucible, however, arrives in the form of the Diablos, an absolutely gargantuan, horned beast that burrows beneath the sands like a monstrous desert shark. The ground itself shakes with its movement, a deep, resonant tremor that precedes its terrifying emergence. It's an imposing creature, all raw power and furious aggression, and its roar is a force of nature, a sound that rattles your very bones and makes your teeth ache. This is where the hunter truly shines, demonstrating his mastery of his craft. He knows the Diablos' patterns, its vulnerabilities, its sheer destructive capability. He doesn't confront it head-on. Instead, he uses the environment, strategically luring it into a trap involving massive ancient rock formations. The Diablos crashes into the rocks, sending debris flying with explosive force, the sound of stone cracking and shattering echoing through the desert. It's a beautifully choreographed battle, with the hunter's agility and strategic thinking pitted against the Diablos' brute strength. Artemis assists, using her rifle where she can, but more importantly, observing and learning. She sees the intricate dance between hunter and hunted, the respect for the beast's power and the cunning required to overcome it. The dust and sand kicked up by the bottle create a chaotic, almost supernatural haze, adding to the epic feel. You can practically taste the grit in the air. After a grueling battle that leaves them both exhausted and battered but victorious, they finally manage to take down the Diablos. The sheer size of the fallen beast is staggering, a testament to the raw power of this world. The hunter, with practiced ease, begins to carve materials from its hide and horns, explaining, through gestures, their value and utility. This is the heart of the Monster Hunter universe, using the parts of felled beasts to craft better weapons and armor, a sustainable cycle of survival and power building. It's a pragmatic, brutal, yet undeniably cool aspect of this world. This moment solidifies their partnership. Artemis has proven herself capable of adopting, and the hunter sees her not just as an outsider, but as a potential ally. Their journey continues, now with a shared goal, finding a way to get Artemis home. The hunter knows of ancient structures, artifacts from a long-lost civilization that might hold the key to the mysterious portals. They traverse vast, dangerous landscapes, encountering smaller but no less deadly creatures along the way. We get glimpses of the incredibly diverse ecosystem, from giant herbivores grazing peacefully to smaller territorial predators. The soundscape is always rich, the buzzing of enormous insects, the distant calls of unknown animals, the constant whisper of the wind carrying the sense of strange flora. Eventually, they reach a towering structure that looks impossibly ancient, carved into the side of a colossal mountain. It's the Sky Tower, a monument to a forgotten age, radiating a faint, almost magical energy. As they ascend, the air grows cooler, and the views become breathtaking, showcasing the sheer scale and beauty of this alien world. It's a moment of quiet awe amidst the constant danger. Up near the summit, they find a larger community, a hub for other hunters, all united under the command of the Admiral, a grizzled, wise, and somewhat eccentric leader, also played by Ron Perlman. This is where the world-building truly expands. The Admiral's airship, the Excelsior, is a marvel of engineering, a massive, ornate vessel made from carved wood, leather, and various monster parts, powered by glowing crystalline energy. It's a floating fortress, bristling with ballistas and catapults, designed to traverse the skies and hunt even the most formidable airborne monsters. The sounds of the ship are a constant hum of machinery, the creak of timber, and the distant calls of the crew. Here, Artemis finally finds people who can speak her language, or at least a version of it, allowing her to understand the true nature of this world and the portals.
The admiral explains that these portals, known as sky spears or fluxes, appear randomly, connecting their world to others. He speaks of an ancient civilization that tried to harness this power, building the Sky Tower as a means to control or understand them, but ultimately failed, leading to cataclysmic events and the rise of the most dangerous creatures, the Elder Dragons. He warns her that a massive, fire-breathing Elder Dragon, the mighty Rathalos, is the one causing the energy surges that are tearing open these portals. If it reaches her world, it would be an apocalypse. The Admiral's voice is grave, filled with the weight of generations of monster hunting, a grim history lesson delivered with a steely gaze. He also introduces her to the Palico, an adorable bipedal cat-like creature that serves as the ship's cook and a highly skilled combat assistant. The Palico, with its cheerful meows and surprisingly effective cooking, adds a much-needed touch of levity to the grim situation. Its culinary creations, while probably delicious, look incredibly exotic, made from unknown ingredients.
Just as Artemis begins to process this overwhelming information, the ship is plunged into chaos. A piercing shriek echoes through the sky, followed by the terrifying whoosh of immense wings. It's the Rathalos, a creature of legend, a living inferno. Its scales gleam like molten gold in the sunlight, and its eyes burn with primal fury. This isn't just a monster, it's a force of nature. The attack is brutal and sudden. Fireballs erupt from its maw, blasting holes in the ship's hull, sending splinters and smoke everywhere. The screams of the crew mix with the roar of the monster and the groan of the massive airship as it takes hit after hit. The smell of burning wood and ozone fills the air. Artemis, no longer just a soldier, but a burgeoning monster hunter, springs into action. She grabs a massive monster bone bowgun, because why settle for a tiny rifle when you can have a shoulder-mounted cannon, right? And joins the fight alongside the hunter and the rest of the crew. This is a spectacular aerial battle, a symphony of destruction. Hunters rappel down ropes, firing their own oversized weapons. The ballistas launch giant bolts that clang against the Rathalos' impenetrable hide, sometimes piercing it, eliciting a furious shriek from the beast. The hunter, with his great sword, leaps onto the Rathalos' back, trying to strike at its vulnerable points. A truly insane feat of courage. Artemis, surprisingly adept with the bowgun, aims for the Rathalos' wings, trying to ground the beast. She remembers the Admiral's words about aiming for specific weak spots, and her training with the hunter kicks in. The thud of the bowgun's projectiles, the distant explosions of fireballs, and the constant rhythmic flapping of the Rathalos' wings create an intense, adrenaline-pumping soundscape. It's a moment where her two worlds truly collide, her military precision now married with the primal tactics of the hunters. The battle is a desperate struggle, with the ship taking heavy damage. The Rathalos is relentless, its fiery breath incinerating sections of the deck. But the hunters are equally tenacious. The Palico, surprisingly, plays a crucial role, skillfully piloting a smaller airship, a speedy scout vessel, to distract the monster and provide cover. Its excited meows as it performs daring maneuvers add a touch of comic relief amidst the chaos. The fight is intense, with close calls and near-fatal blows, until finally, through a combined effort of cunning and sheer firepower, they manage to damage one of its wings, sending the colossal creature plummeting towards the earth in a fiery dive, crashing into the desert below with an earth-shattering impact. The silence that follows is deafening, broken only by the crackling of flames and the groans of the damaged airship. With the immediate threat of the Rathalos temporarily dealt with, the Admiral turns his attention to the true objective, stopping the portals from opening and preventing any more monsters from crossing into Artemis's world. The portal is currently unstable, a shimmering, swirling vortex of energy high up in the Sky Tower. They devise a plan to use the tower's ancient mechanisms, combined with the energy of a specific Elder Dragon artifact, to seal the portal permanently. This world, they explain, is filled with these Elder Dragon artifacts, remnants of creatures so powerful they shaped the very landscape and time itself. The Sky Tower was built to study and perhaps contain such forces, but it's a dangerous game. Their journey to the heart of the Sky Tower is fraught with peril. The tower itself is a testament to the lost civilization, its immense, intricate mechanisms still humming with latent power. Ancient carvings adorn its walls, depicting scenes of colossal battles between hunters and creatures of unimaginable power, hinting at the vast, untold history of this world. The air is charged with a strange, almost electric energy, and the metallic tang of old machinery fills your nostrils. They encounter more smaller monsters within the tower's winding passages, creatures that have made the ancient ruins their home. These are nimble, cunning foes, requiring the hunters to move with stealth and precision, their footsteps echoing softly on the cold stone. As they near the portal, they realize the Rathalos isn't entirely defeated. It's ascended to the tower, drawn by the portal's energy, and it's even angrier now, more dangerous. This sets up the final, epic showdown. This battle is less about brute force and more about strategic maneuvering and teamwork. The Rathalos, despite its injured wing, is still incredibly agile, using the tower's intricate structure to its advantage, breathing torrents of fire that scorch the ancient stone. The battle takes place high up with dizzying drops and crumbling platforms, adding an extra layer of peril. The sounds are a cacophony of stone breaking, fire roaring, and the metallic clang of weapons against scales. Artemis, now fully embracing her role as a hunter, fights alongside the hunter and the admiral. She's no longer just a soldier. She's learned to read the monster, anticipate its moves, and utilize the environment. She uses her knowledge of explosive tactics, combining them with the hunter's traps and the admiral's leadership. The hunter, with his massive sword, uses the Rathalos' own momentum against it, executing incredible aerial maneuvers, swinging from ropes and plunging his weapon into its hide with astonishing force. The admiral, despite his age, proves to be a formidable fighter, wielding a heavy weapon with surprising power. The Palico, too, is there, darting around, setting small traps and offering support, a surprisingly fierce little companion. The teamwork is paramount. Each hunter plays a crucial role, covering for the others, exploiting weaknesses, and enduring the monster's relentless assaults. The climax of the battle sees Artemis making a daring move, luring the Rathalos towards a specific point in the tower, a place where the portal's energy is strongest. She uses a combination of her remaining military gear and the hunter's techniques, throwing everything she has at the beast. The Rathalos roars in fury, its final, desperate attacks shaking the very foundation of the tower. But the hunters prevail. With a final, coordinated effort, they manage to strike a critical blow, sending the Rathalos crashing down into the portal itself. The portal, overwhelmed by the creature's immense energy and the ancient mechanisms being activated, begins to destabilize. It crackles and surges with raw power, a maelstrom of light and sound, before slowly, agonizingly starting to shrink, drawing the Rathalos deeper into its void. As the portal shrinks, Artemis sees a glimpse of her own world on the other side, a fleeting image of a familiar desert landscape. Hope surges through her, but the portal is closing too fast, and the sky tower is groaning under the strain, beginning to crumble around them. The admiral, ever the pragmatist, realizes they can't get everyone through. He makes a split-second decision. Artemis must go. She's the key to warning her world. With a desperate leap, she barely makes it through the rapidly diminishing vortex, landing with a jarring thud back in the familiar but now eerily quiet desert of her home dimension. She's back. The sand is the same, the air familiar, but she's changed. The raw, primal experience of the monster world has left an indelible mark. Her military uniform is torn, her face grimed, and her eyes hold a new, fierce light. She's still processing it all, the terrifying beauty of the other world, the friends she made, the battles she fought. But her relief is short-lived. The portal, though shrunken, isn't fully closed. It's just a faint shimmer in the air, a tiny, unstable ripple. And through that ripple, before it vanishes completely, a new shadow appears. A massive, horrifyingly familiar silhouette, its eyes glowing with a malevolent light. It's another elder dragon, one of immense power, a creature far more ancient and terrifying than the Rathalos, hinting at an even greater threat. It's a chilling reminder that the danger hasn't passed, it's merely shifted. The hunter, the admiral, and the Palico, having stayed behind in their world, watch as the portal winks out of existence, knowing that the fight isn't over for Artemis. They prepare for their own battles, understanding the gravity of the situation. Back in her world, Artemis stands alone, but she's no longer helpless. She's learned, she's stronger. She now carries a piece of the monster world with her, a new understanding of survival, and a resolve to protect her home from the encroaching darkness. She knows that this isn't just about her survival anymore, it's about the survival of two worlds. The subtle hum of residual portal energy in the air suggests that this is far from the end, merely the beginning of a much larger conflict, a bridge built between dimensions not of peace, but of impending war.
She looks up at the vast sky, now knowing there are more dangers lurking, and she prepares for whatever comes next, a soldier, a hunter, a protector. As the echoes of their incredible journey settle, it's worth reflecting on the resilience of the human spirit when faced with the utterly unknown. Artemis's transformation from a skilled but conventional soldier to a formidable monster hunter speaks volumes about our capacity to adopt, learn, and fight for what we believe in, even when the odds are stacked against us. This story reminds us that courage isn't just about facing what you know, but about embracing the terrifying possibilities of what lies beyond, finding unexpected allies, and forging a new path forward in a world far grander and more dangerous than we ever imagined. Monster Hunter offers a spectacle of action and a fantastic visual journey into a world teeming with awe-inspiring creatures. While it certainly leans into the turn off your brain and enjoy category, it delivers on its promise of big monsters and bigger fights, setting the stage for some truly epic battles. It's a fun ride that showcases the sheer scale and wonder of the game's universe, leaving you wanting to see more of this incredible, dangerous world.